How did punishment transition from being in our faces to becoming so hidden? And what does this transition even mean? In his book, Discipline and Punish: The Birth of the Prison, Michel Foucault outlines how our institutions transitioned, not to be more humane, but to be more efficient. In other words, even though we don't see punishment, we each experience it intensely. Back when torture was a public spectacle for all to see, the shameful, condemned individual was sometimes transformed into an object of pity or glory. At the same time, the executioner was turned into an object of shame. He was the embodiment of the confrontation between the violence imposed by the king and the violence of the people. Back then, punishment was all about terror, but it also glorified the criminal. This shows how punishment is also very political. Through punishment, a monarch's strength was displayed and their power restored. Today, we still have a spectacle, but now that spectacle is the trial and the resulting sentence.
Guilty.
Now, there is no glory in execution. Justice is even ashamed to impose it. But this is an important transition. By labeling the defendant as
innocent until proven guilty,
truth is now what we aim to get at.
I want the truth!
Even if absolute truth is impossible to obtain, the verdict will still stain the defendant afterwards.
I'll never teach again. My life is over.
Instead of focusing on the body, punishment now focuses on the soul, eliminating pain, but instead taking away a person's rights.
I'm just saying, I think it'll go a whole lot smoother if we do what we're told.
It does this by first making sure that the punishment is harsher than any benefits one could have received from committing a crime. For example, if you know that you'll be locked up for years if you're caught for stealing really expensive jewelry, you'll be less willing to do it. Plus, just the thought of spending those years in jail is also enough to stop a person from doing it. Throughout this process, judgment is also passed on a person's instincts, disturbed mind, or their own biology.
We're like aliens, drooling fiends lurking in the bushes. We're just like everybody else.
For example, intent is the difference between first-degree murder, which is premeditated and receives the harshest punishment, and second-degree murder.
I'm gonna kill Carl now.
So not only are acts of aggression punished, but so are the feelings of aggression or aggressivity.
I'm gonna kill you.
What this all means is that we now transition people from one type of person to another, or we dehumanize them altogether.
You lock these animals up, and you never have to deal with them again.
Donna.
In the past, public executions placed a person's sentence on their body for all to see. But now, our punishments play out discreetly in all of our minds, where it is much more effective at altering our behavior. After all, we all have at least an idea of the types of punishments we can expect for certain crimes.
I'm placing you under arrest in violation of California Penal Code 211, armed robbery.
Hey, my brother didn't do anything.
These legal procedures are now our public spectacle. Even though we seek them out, they weren't meant to stay secret. Everyone will know why a person is being punished. When we call prisons rehabilitation centers, we introduce a standard of normal. Now we assess and diagnose people.
Why, do you think that you're crazy?
Insanity was a legal term that is now associated with labeling people as mentally unstable.
I hate psychiatrists.
Deserving remorse, but also to be removed from society all the same.
That's what civilized society calls justice.
Sure, we don't torture anymore, but we use prison to punish more effectively than ever. By being able to tell us what is normal, our institutions hold unimaginable power. Not just over criminals, but over all of our behaviors. So the next time you're trying to keep up with that famous court case, remember just how much we're all being affected. Hey, thank you so much for checking this video out. It really means a lot for our channel, but also it was a real pleasure putting this video together because Michel Foucault is one of my favorite theorists. So here's the book, if any of you are interested in further reading, and it really does break down the history of punishment and how it's still affecting our behaviors.